Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into a seriously fascinating scenario based on some incredible source material, the future of artificial intelligence in government. We're going to explore how machine learning could fundamentally reshape the very nature of how a state operates, makes its decisions, and ultimately interacts with you. Just imagine waking up tomorrow in a country where your public services, the national budget, and core policies are all managed by artificial intelligence. Could a machine actually run your country? And well, even if it could, should it? We're looking at a future where government might become remarkably faster and highly personalized, but also potentially impossible for everyday citizens to challenge. We are basically staring down two extreme possibilities here. On one hand, you've got this utopian dream of perfect civic optimization. We're talking ambulances routed flawlessly, welfare checks hitting your bank account the exact moment you lose your job, all completely automatic. But then, there's the flip side. An algorithmic nightmare. Picture your local library abruptly shutting down because an algorithm couldn't quite quantify its social value on a spreadsheet, or predictive surveillance heavily policing your neighborhood based entirely on historical data. So, here is exactly how we're going to break down the future of algorithmic government. We'll start with a tale of two futures, look at the levels of AI authority, dive into automating the state, uncover the neutrality myth, and finally wrap up with keeping government human. All right, Section 1, a tale of two futures, the ultimate civic optimization versus algorithmic authoritarianism. So in the ideal scenario, an AI is continuously monitoring the economy. It's catching shady corporate tax structures, predicting traffic jams before they happen, and expanding community clinics exactly where they're needed most. And the craziest part? No human minister ever had to wait around for a monthly report. No department spent weeks drafting some massive proposal. The system just acted, way before the crisis was even visible to us. It's like having a government bureaucracy that actually moves faster than a tech startup. That is the ultimate promise of efficiency. But let's look at the darker version. Imagine an AI suddenly suspends your welfare benefits based on some hidden fraud model. You call up to ask why, but no human official can actually explain the decision to you. Why? Because the system used millions of opaque, complex variables to determine your fate. Now, the government might insist the AI is completely objective, but beneath all that math, the data is often just reflecting incomplete records and past political biases. Moving on to Section 2, Levels of AI Authority, from helpful assistant to unquestionable ruler. To really grasp how we end up in either of those futures, we have to realize that handing power to a machine happens in stages. Step 1 is basically just an administrative assistant, drafting letters or summarizing long documents. Step 2 is a policy advisor, where it analyzes tons of data to give human leaders a few options. Step 3 is an autonomous decision maker. This is where it operates within strict bounds, like dynamically changing traffic lights to ease congestion. But Step 4? That is full-on political authority. We're talking about an AI writing national policy and shifting billions in budgets all on its own. That line between being a helpful assistant and having absolute authority is exactly where things get incredibly dangerous. Which brings us right into Section 3, automating the state, the high-stakes gamble of predictive services. When we actually apply these levels of authority to high-stakes public sectors, the contrast is pretty wild. Take welfare, for example. AI could theoretically enroll you in benefits the exact second you lose your job, which is an absolute lifesaver. But it could also mistakenly suspend your housing benefits over a misunderstood bank deposit, pushing a family toward eviction instantly. Over in healthcare, AI can optimize triage so critical patients get seen way faster. Yet it could also deny care to someone just because a statistical model gave them a low probability of recovery. And policing? It promises super efficient resource planning, but often creates these endless predictive surveillance loops. If police keep getting sent to one specific disadvantaged neighborhood because of past data, they're going to record more offenses there. That feeds right back into the algorithm, cementing it as a high-crime area, while totally ignoring offenses happening everywhere else. This danger gets incredibly clear when you let an AI manage the budget. Think about a machine using zero-based budgeting, where every single public program has to constantly justify its existence with measurable outcomes. A machine demanding immediate, hard financial evidence might just slash funding for your rural library. Why? Because the deep, long-term social value of a community meeting space or free internet access is incredibly hard to boil down to a simple financial metric. Let's dive into Section 4, the neutrality myth. Why algorithms are never truly objective.
The biggest flaw in all of this is the dangerous assumption that computers are perfectly unbiased. We like to think of algorithms as pure math, but it's way messier than that. Even if a government explicitly bans an AI from looking at sensitive things like ethnicity or religion, the model might just engage in what's known as proxy discrimination. Basically, it uses supposedly neutral data like your zip code, the language you speak, or your shopping habits to silently figure out those protected traits anyway. When it does that, the AI is just reproducing historical inequalities, all while hiding behind the disguise of perfect mathematical objectivity.
We also have to watch out for Goodhart's law. This is the idea that when a measure becomes a target, it completely stops being a good measure. For example, if an AI's only target is to lower the unemployment rate, it might just start classifying people in short, temporary training programs as employed. Boom, it hacked the metric. The graph looks fantastic, politicians get to take a victory lap, but it completely ignores the actual goal of creating real economic security for citizens. And here's a massive issue, the false positive problem. In the tech world, a 1% error rate is usually considered a huge win. But when you deploy a massive model across an entire nation's population, that tiny 1% error can incorrectly flag millions of innocent people for fraud. That is not just a little statistical blip on a dashboard. For real people, it means frozen bank accounts, evictions, and going hungry.
Plus, think about this. What if an AI recommends a policy that makes life perfectly optimized for 95% of the country, but absolutely ruins things for 5% minority? Pure aggregate optimization says, yeah, take that deal. To the algorithm, it's just math. But a constitutional democracy simply can't operate like that. Human rights literally exist to put limits on ruthless optimization. We cannot just trade away a minority's fundamental rights because a computer says it boosts the overall score.
All right, our final section, Section 5, Keeping Government Human, the roadmap for a responsible AI state. If human rights have to limit optimization, how do we actually build a responsible AI state? Well, we need some serious guardrails. First off, meaningful human review. And I don't mean a human just rubber stamping something because the computer said so. The human reviewer actually needs the time, the competence, and the real authority to overturn the machine's decision. We also absolutely need independent algorithmic auditing, a crystal clear right to appeal decisions with real explanations, strict limits that sit entirely outside the AI's control, and a rock-solid guarantee of offline access for everyone. At the end of the day, whether a government is using private tech vendors, claiming commercial secrecy, or just pushing to make everything digital first, the state can never, ever outsource its accountability. It cannot abandon citizens who don't have digital access, and it definitely can't just shrug and say, well, the black box algorithm decided. Public services demand visible, answerable escalation. As we inevitably build the government of tomorrow, and as AI processes more data than any human cabinet ever could, we have to keep this in mind. Knowledge is not legitimacy. Prediction is not justice. And efficiency is definitely not democracy. Machines might help governments govern better, sure, but should they ever become rulers that we can't question? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I'll leave you to think about that.